Here at the Level Up Co., Kelly and I truly do believe that an elevated client experience from the very first touch point of that first email all the way through the delivery of your wedding films or those final galleries are all so important. And that's why Kelly and I both have been using and loving VidFlow for the last several years, and we recommend to all of our students and our audience members to use VidFlow as well. Delivery experience truly matters. The way your clients view their films for the very first time should be a magical moment. It needs to be a professional and branded experience, instead of basic file sharing like Dropbox or Google Drive, or even Vimeo or YouTube links. Through VidFlow, clients can stream their videos through smart TVs, streaming devices, and setup boxes. Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, you name it. There are so many options for clients to watch and experience their films for the very first time on the big screen at home. And VidFlow is now offering photo delivery as well. They now support photo delivery with their new hybrid galleries, which is a major benefit for hybrid shooters and combined photo and video teams. You can now deliver your beautiful photo galleries alongside your video galleries in one place. Level up your delivery experience for 2026 and beyond with VidFlow. You can get started today by going to vidflow.co/theLevelUpCo. This is the Level Up Podcast. I'm Taylor Petrinovich.
And I'm Kelly Gilster of 618 Studios.
And we are on a mission to help wedding filmmakers and photographers level up their businesses so you can make more and work less.
We want to help you confidently take your business from mainstream to luxury, and it all starts right here. Hello, friends. Thank you for joining us in the car for our final car chat series episode. I'm here with my girl, Taylor. Taylor, how are you feeling? We're nearing the end of our road trip, and we're a little silly.
You guys, if you've ever gone many days without sleeping if you're a parent, like that automatically applies to you. But you know how when you're so tired and everything just becomes so funny all of a sudden?
Yep.
I think that might be kind of where we are.
Yeah.
But that's not going to hold us back from recording a great finale to this little series that we're doing here on the podcast. If this is your first time joining us, actually, I would recommend scrolling back like 6 episodes and starting from the beginning, because we are kind of doing something a little strange for somebody who has a podcast, and we're recording these episodes in the car, meaning we're not in our podcast studios with our nice podcast mics. We are on the road with all the noise, road noise and real life things that you deal with as you do on a road trip. And so it's kind of fun if you follow the journey, because not only are you getting a peek like into more Level Up and like what we do and what we stand for, but you get to literally start the actual literal journey with us.
Yeah.
From point A to point B.
Yeah. So today we want to talk about something that I've actually had so many conversations with other friends of mine in the industry. And it's also things that I've heard through like family members who have like been in different workplaces and whatever it may be. But basically it's this concept of no one's going to read your mind and know what your goals are for yourself. For so many years, I'll be the first to admit, like I leaned on like my work to just like be putting my work out there and all that stuff. And I literally just waited for opportunities to come to me. I really sat in the passenger seat of my business. I was definitely not in the driver's seat for so many years. Sorry, my accelerator did something really strange. It's very hard to like record these and be driving in LA traffic at the same time. There's so many things going on. We have like oversized tractors to our left, semis to our right, and lots of headlights in front of us with braking lights.
Yeah, we're in
Taillights.
stop and go traffic, guys. This is like kind of gross. It's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock on a Thursday in LA, and everyone and their mom is out driving around right now. I think that's pretty normal though, right?
And there's just like, yeah, there's always traffic. But I wonder if maybe there's an accident up here or something. We're like just passing through like where like LAX area is, if you're familiar.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I mean, I think it's great to know that it's an option that you can like speak your goals to people like out in the universe. And a lot of people don't understand that. I mean, I do believe humans are inherently good and we want to actually like help each other and from a very genuine way. And one thing that I love about this industry is it's so heavily built on relationships and connections and understanding that anyone can be a connector in your world. Like, I think a lot of people put too much emphasis on like just seeking out planner relationships and not understanding that like our fellow photographers or videographers or stylists or, you know, paper goods like designers or whatever, could actually be connectors too. Like they might know somebody who's looking for whatever it is you want to provide. So if you have your sights set on doing something specific in your business, like maybe you want to go through a rebrand and it's like someone has like a bomb designer or like graphic designer or like strategist like that they connect you with, they would never know to connect you if you hadn't told anyone. Or maybe you want to like shoot a wedding in the Bahamas for the first time to build your portfolio and you'd be happy to discount it. Well, no one's just going to know that. Like no one's a mind reader, right? And like people want to help you.
Yeah. I was talking to Paul about this whole concept because honestly, like this is a new concept for me. Like I feel like I said, I sat in the passenger seat for so long. I got a little bit braver. I like inched my way into the driver's seat here and there. But then like through like having kids and all those things, like sometimes you just kind of find yourself like scooting over back into the passenger seat through like different seasons and stuff. And I don't think I realized like how simple and easy it is to just speak out what your goals are. So, to give you an example for you guys listening, I got to go to Kindred over a year ago, and I was sitting across this table with my good friend David, and we just met for the first time. And I actually think this is like a great question when you're at a networking event. He was like, "What are your goals for 2025?" And I was like, "Oh, I love this. Okay, I want to do more destination events and I would love to shoot a fam trip." And he goes, "Oh, that's cool." Like, you know, we just chatted, whatever. He clocked that. And then 4 months later, I get a DM from him. "Hey, I got asked to photograph a fam. Would you be interested in being the video partner for it?" And I was like, "Yeah." But like, I mean, it was really nice that he like prompted me. So then fast forward, maybe 6 months, then I was at dinner with a planner and I was telling this is the story I was telling Paul, that I was at dinner with my friend Brooke, who's a planner, and she said, "I have this great opportunity to put together a fam trip in Hawaii." And I feel like typical Kelly would be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so happy for you. That's amazing." And then, you know, "Who are you thinking of inviting?" Like, she's like, "Yeah, I'm still kind of building the list." It's just start of like, this was back in like September and the fam was going to be like 3 months from then. And I was like, I need to just like speak out like what my like desires and like what I would love to do. And I was like, if you want to bring on someone for video to film the fam, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Whereas like Kelly years ago would just nod along, congratulate her, ask her follow-up questions about it, and then just hope internally, be like, I hope she asks me, like, instead of just me being like, I'd love to be a part of that. And, you know, I would just wait for things to come. And
Yeah.
if you're just waiting, like, sometimes they just don't come to you because people don't know that that's really what your desires are.
Yeah. No, 100%. I mean, and I think it comes from a place of not wanting to feel like pushy or like presumptuous or whatever. And I think that, I mean, there are ways you can probably go about it where it might feel like a little like feather ruffling, for lack of a better word. But the way you kind of just like explained how you approached it and how you were phrasing things, like it's perfect. It's mostly just like an invitation. Like you're opening the door. And if they want to walk through it and invite you on, then that's great. And if not, like no hard feelings.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people get in their heads like really heavily or like there's two ends of the spectrum. Like a lot of people get in their heads and so like they overthink things and overcomplicate it and so they like don't. They feel like a little frozen. And then some people don't even know it's an option. They're like, "Oh, it's never dawned on me to like
Yeah.
to do that."
Yeah.
So I feel like whether you're in camp A or camp B, this is kind of your I mean, like, for lack of a better word, like permission slip
Yeah.
to speak it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also too, it's really funny. I actually think that I started off like slightly more delusional in like what I was maybe prepared for, or like maybe shooting my shot for things that I probably was not qualified to be a part of just yet, because I was just didn't really know like the levels of things or how the etiquette process was. And I feel like in the beginning I did shoot my shot a lot more, and I was more not risk averse, but like I just was more I was okay with being like uncomfortable. And then as like our business grew, and I'm sure I probably like shot my shot for things that people were like side eyeing, like, what did she just ask if she could do? Or like, emailing like planners that were probably leaps and bounds ahead of me in the industry, and not understanding like where I sat in the industry.
Yeah.
And so I do think that then once I got a little bit more knowledge, it's tricky because it's so good to become more and more knowledgeable, but it's important to not make ourselves small. Like when we get that awareness of like, say, where we sit in the market, or like how many other things are like ahead of us in this industry. It's almost like where like maybe you feel like so comfortable, like at your local mall that you're in, and like the stores, like they're all in the price point that you're really comfortable with. And then let's say like you go to a mall that's like outside of your local town, and it has like the fancier stores, maybe a boutique that you're not familiar with. And you're like, oh my gosh, like I thought that like what I had was like the premier shopping experience. I didn't even know that all of this existed. And then you start to kind of like get in your head of like, oh wow, that's like kind of embarrassing. I thought that like I was like, you know, the premier shopper of like what I thought was available to me, and then not knowing that there's like so many more levels of things. I don't know if this is making sense.
I mean, no, that totally makes sense. I think that happens a lot for people like in where they're at in the market, in the wedding industry in general. Like I've shared this story like lots of times, but in 2019, 2020, I was predominantly serving just like the Sacramento market. Like I live in Sacramento, like I was serving, yes, like venues 30 minutes down the road from me, and charging whatever, $3,000, $4,000. And I 100% thought that like that's as good as it gets. I was like, oh, I've reached the pinnacle, like done and done, check that one off the list.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, it's just an awareness thing. I mean, it's hard to know what you don't know,
Yeah.
but once you know it, there's no going back kind of thing.
Okay, then what was it then when you received that awareness? Because we do sometimes have to walk our students through this, because in our mastermind, we uncover and unveil all the different levels of the market. They are, they get familiarized with a whole new world and really like take the blinders off. It opens up their eyes. But we will hear sometimes from students that are like, oh my gosh, now that I know all of this, like I'm almost like frozen in knowing what to do, because they felt so comfortable and like you said, like you're like, check that one off the belt, like check that off, like I made it, I'm at the top, tippity top. And then you realize like, oh wow, no, I'm like not, like didn't know I didn't know anything about like how much more I could grow it. But I feel like for me, I understood, like I started to get that awareness, and I think it made me feel smaller. I think it made me, if I'm being like totally honest, made me feel like, oh, I'm not deserving to like shoot my shot out to this, because like I don't have any of this on my portfolio. I've never operated like in working with clients like of this level. But you just kind of like leaned into it. Like, what was it that you're like, I deserve to be here and I'm going to make this happen?
So many of you listening are incredible filmmakers, but if you're stuck in the cycle of always editing with no time to actually work on your business, it can really stunt your growth. Taylor and I see it all the time. A growing backlog, late nights behind the computer, and no space to focus on booking, marketing, or scaling. That's exactly why we're so excited to partner with Wanderlust. Wanderlust offers professional video editing services for filmmakers, including highlight films, feature films, documentary edits, ceremony and speech
edits, elopements, and even social media teasers. And the best part is they match your style, so your films still feel like your artistry. Whether you edit in Final Cut, Premiere Pro, or DaVinci Resolve, they deliver a seamless outcome no matter which platform you use. Outsourcing your edits means more time working on your branding, making it to that networking event, and carving out time for education to actually grow your business instead of being buried in footage. Head over to wanderlust-videos.com to learn about their amazing services. And as a listener, you can get $100 off your first project with Wanderlust of $200 or more with the code LEVELUP100. If your backlog is keeping you from working on your business, Wanderlust is your solution.
I mean, it was I grew really fast, but I definitely did spend time in like each level of the market. But I felt really well equipped because I dove into educating myself within the industry to like really learn the ins and outs. Like it's not like I was just going in blind. Like I acquired mentors and like took courses and enrolled in programs and I did all the things. Like I did a full rebrand, changed my business name, like built my portfolio through lots of editorials. Like, I mean, this is a lot of my growth happened in the height of COVID. So events weren't happening. And so I did like whatever my scrappy little self could do, like with the time. And I really did maximize it to its fullest potential, I feel like. I mean, I've said this before, but like in the year of 2020, I did 5 style shoots. And I planned and like facilitated and designed and like paid for 2 of them. So like they're very unique. It's not like I've never gone to a styled shoot where like they're selling tickets to it. I've always just like partnered with like individual like one. Anyway, so I felt like I earned my seat at the table as far as like from a visibility and like as a brand. And then because the way the COVID like and post-COVID boom happened, like it was this actually really strange kind of like duality happening where like a lot of people had this, but like where you're shooting weddings that you had booked in 2019
Yes.
at your 2019 prices
Yes.
for 2020. Okay, well now they're not happening until 2021 while also filling out the rest of your calendar with like this new brand and like this like heightened like experience that you're providing. So like kind of 2 things happening at the same time. But with that said, like I spent time in each one, so I was able to like execute incrementally better weddings like as time went. But one thing that was great is I actually didn't like spend too long in any one. I feel like the timing was like really perfect. But I mean, my nature is, like I said, like on last episode, is definitely like build your parachute on the way down. Like say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes me a strong entrepreneur. And that's like at like kind of throwing it back to the first episode of this series, that's why I selected you to like come on and partner with me for Level Up is like the doer in you. And like,
Yeah.
I'm a doer, you're a doer.
Yeah.
Like we make things happen together. And some people sit in that like, fight, flight, or freeze. Like they sit in that frozen state for too long and
Yeah.
nothing happens while you're frozen. So, I mean, a lot of it is just like building momentum. And the easiest way you can build momentum is like just to like talk about what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest starting point you can imagine. You just have to say it.
Yeah. You just have to say what you want to do. Like, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, like throwing it back to like a few episodes ago, you guys were recording these all in one sitting. Like obviously we're on a car trip. So they're all starting to blend together in my mind. Maybe not for you guys as the listeners, but they are for me. But you asked me like a few episodes ago, like what was your goal for Engage? Like did you accomplish your goal?
Yeah.
And actually this is something I was doing all week is I was like, I've been using the like phrasing. I want to be the go-to filmmaker in the Napa and Tahoe market when there is a wedding with a budget of like overall like north of maybe like 500,000. Like I want to be on those jobs. Like I want to be the one that you call, like the no-brainer.
Yeah.
And so I don't feel the need to like, I don't know.
I have a very random question.
Yeah.
Did anyone at Engage ask you what you charge?
I'm trying to think.
Not a single person asked me. I met a ton of people and they were just like, email me or like, I'd love to, like, I'm going to follow you. Your work's beautiful. Not a single person asked me what I charged.
Actually, yes. On the last night, the gala night, I sat next to like two really lovely planners from Toronto. And actually, this is like kind of interesting. So they were saying that they're working with a videographer who oftentimes won't deliver their clients' deliverables until like after a year.
Why?
So I don't know. Well, I think this is like interesting for people to hear. And it's all obviously anonymous. So that's how they start the conversation. And they were like, "What are your thoughts on that?" And I was like, "That's insane." And they were like, "Well, what's your delivery window?" And I was like, 8 to 12 weeks, and if like we're really pushing it, maybe 16. And she's like, "Okay." And I was like, "But I will say in my contract it says 6 months just to like protect me. Like what if I'm in a car accident or like like things happen, and so I really want to make sure that like I'm covered, but yeah, the goal is like that 12-week mark basically." She's like, "Okay, well, I have like I work with a videographer where it really ruffles my client's feathers because she will be posting like her better actually she didn't even say she, it could have been a guy. Actually, I have no idea. This I'm just saying she because I'm a girl. So I'll just keep using that. But she will post her best weddings on Instagram and plaster them all over the place and like making it seem like she's like going out of order on her like deliverables. Meanwhile, she has clients waiting for over a year for their stuff, making them feel insignificant. And I found that really interesting. And I was like, that's a hard no for me. Like, a year is unacceptable. Like, it just is. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like, and this is what I told the planner too. I was like, if it's getting to a year before it's being delivered, then like something needs to change. Either like they are taking on too much work. So like they need to like scale upwards like in pricing so that they can take on less, or they need to like hire an editor. And like there's been times where like yeah, that timeline approaches and like I'm not ready, so like that one gets outsourced maybe. Like and I know that as like artists we cling so tightly to like the art side of things, but like it's an investment in your business to like make sure you're like appeasing your like creative partners and your clients. But anyway, so then we got onto the topic of like price point. She's like, "What do you charge?" And I was like, "I'm 13.5 for 8 hours." And she's like, "Okay." And then actually when I said that, I almost feel like that made me feel like more legitimate because then they were like, "Oh, what's your Instagram? I'm going to follow you." And so they like took out their phones and like followed me like right there. And so I followed them back and they're beautiful and lovely and like so wonderful, but it was an interesting like lead into the conversation of like price point. But that's the only person who asked. Those two
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
I just think that's really interesting. Okay, I just realized we're so deep into this podcast episode, and I'm just sitting here in traffic, and there's two of us in the car, so we could definitely be in the carpool lane, which is flowing at a nice, steady speed, and I just don't know what I was doing. I think this is actually a really good metaphor of, like, just being on autopilot in the passenger seat and not, like, my blinders need to be off to the fact that we could be cruising at a different pace in order to get to our goals of our destination.
A little faster.
A little faster, which is what all of us can do in our businesses too.
Yeah. What are your goals? I mean, we're already like at the time that this is published, it's already 2026, but at the time of recording, it's not yet. What are your goals for next year?
Um, I do want to book more weddings. So, full transparency, we take on 10 to 12 a year, and we were a couple short from like maxing out our calendar, if that makes sense. It felt fine with like everything else that we have going on with our corporate commercial brand. We have Level Up here that we spend many, many, many hours a week on. But I will say, like, it was just a year, like, it never feels good to like not reach your goal of how many weddings you wanted to do for that year.
So, what are you going to do differently then?
Well, I think building the momentum from Engage.
Yeah.
So we just went to Engage in December, and then we'll be going again in a couple of months at the time of this going live. So in June, I think that's going to be really a big deal. Like, I think that'll be really good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I think that I may be in a place where I've outgrown a few of my go-to relationships in the industry. And so it was just a really good opportunity this year, like putting myself in the room and getting to like meet people. Oh, also too, like you saying, like speaking out what your goals are. So like at the last night of Engage, we were at the gala and I was chatting with a planner that we work with often, and then a photographer that we work with often. And they were chatting with another planner who I've known of for years and years. We've followed each other on Instagram for years and years, but I've just never had the opportunity to officially meet her. And so the two planners are like kind of in conversation, and then me and the photographer Heather are in conversation. And I asked Heather, I said, have you worked with, her name's Tessa. And I said, have you worked with Tessa before? And she's like, yeah, just a couple of times. And I said, she goes, have you ever met her? And I was like, no, but would you introduce me? Because I've been wanting to meet her and I had seen that she was coming to engage. And she was like, yes, of course. So then she found like a break in the conversation and then like politely said, hey, Tessa, this is my friend Kelly with 618 Studios, and I'd love for you guys to meet. Like, instead of just kind of like standing there hoping like that someone's just going to introduce you, like this is just a small example of like speak out like what it is that you want to happen in any part of something. It could be a quick introduction of like, hey, like, let me know. Like, even my friend Kaylee, she works for Belmont, so she knows so many planners that like do their weddings in Belmont. And she said, like, hey, if there's anyone you want me to meet, like, please tell me, and then I'm happy to introduce you to them. And then I got a little shy and I didn't. And I shut up.
Oh gosh.
Jeez.
Dude. Motorcyclists scare me so much, like for their safety.
I
It makes me
know.
nervous.
Lane splitting, it's legal in California. It's not legal in all states, but it's definitely a risk for sure.
I'm trying to think like ways maybe I've like actually I had some conversations with some planners of like being very transparent. Like there was a planner that I've worked with a couple times this week at Engage, and I literally said, I would love to work with you more. I
Yeah.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like in like a sweet way. Like, but maybe she didn't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Right.
And they take it like, I don't know, like at least this one, like she took it as a compliment. Like, I don't think it would ever come off as like weird.
Right.
So,
So, anyways, like, moral of the story on this episode is to look for opportunities to, Taylor always uses, like, I'm just going to shoot my shot, or like, I just shot my shot. Like, and I
oh,
love that
wait.
phrase.
Actually, wait, I have a story. Okay. Kyle Smith. I hope you don't mind me sharing your story a little bit, but he just got picked up by the Wedding Artist Co., which is an agency. Actually, we should get her on the podcast.
Yeah. I sat in on her breakout room at Engage.
I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
But I was like congratulating Kyle on this, like, I would call it like a monumental like career move.
Yeah.
Like so huge. The Wedding Artist Co. is very reputable. They rep some like amazing photographers and filmmakers. And so like absolutely a feather in the cap for Kyle. Like big congrats. And actually, fun fact, Kyle was a student of mine in my very first mastermind I ever ran back in 2020. So I think we like said it a couple episodes ago where it's like the student becomes the master, like kind of thing. And it's like one of those, like it is so fun watching like people that I've coached like surpass me basically, or like actually we start at the same price point, but get to like where I am or surpass me. Anyway, so um he's actually pretty active on Threads. I follow him on Threads too. And so this is all like public information, but he like one day posted a thread that says like, I'm just going to shoot my shot. That's what made me think of Kyle. I'm just going to shoot my shot. And he got in touch with, what's her name who runs the Wedding Artist Co.?
Is it Lisa?
Elise. Yes, Lisa. And actually she lives in Sacramento.
Cool.
He shooted his shot with Lisa, and through conversation and like an unexpected path forward, I think. I don't think she was intending on like opening up her roster for another filmmaker to represent. But it worked out and he like got picked up by her. And it would have never happened if he did not speak out his goals eventually. So like incredible things can happen. The worst anyone can say is no.
Yeah.
And so just remembering that it's not that serious, you have everything to gain and nothing to lose, like should be so inspiring.
That's amazing. Yeah, I love that. I love that little tidbit that you had. And it's so true. Like you me and Kyle were actually talking about this too. He was like, no doors open if you don't knock on them.
Oh, that's such a great phrase.
And he was like, that's just something that I have just like really learned and like leaned into is like I think so many people are saying like these doors aren't opening for me. Like why aren't any doors opening for me? And sometimes it's just as simple as like you're not knocking on them.
You're not knocking on the doors.
Yeah. And so like in 2026 here in this year, look for doors to knock on and look for opportunities to just speak out like outwardly what it is that you want to be doing.
I love it. Just embrace the growth, embrace the newness, embrace like leaning into it can be scary.
It can be scary. Like I said earlier, like I just by nature, I tend to like go smaller. Like I tend to make myself smaller
Yeah.
in situations where I get scared, instead of like leaning in and knocking on those doors. So it's something that I've just been like personally just like working on, even in just like like day to day life stuff. Like you sit around being like, oh, I wish I saw these like group of friends go on a vacation together. Like I wonder, like if an invite or whatever. And sometimes it's like, oh, I would have like loved to come to that or something like that. And they would be like, oh, we just like assumed you're like so busy or like it wouldn't be a good time of year for you. Or like, I think a lot of people just like assume certain things about like your business, like so much so like where Paul and I want to like broaden outside of Orange County. And so many people had told us like, oh, I didn't know that you like wanted to do events like outside of California because your kids are young and all that. And I'm like, no, actually, like it's so much easier for us to like go and do these like destination events and like pour ourselves in 100% into our work rather than like straddling the line between like parents and wedding filmmakers like
Yeah.
for hours on end. So anyways, it's like people really kind of sometimes assume that you're not looking for certain doors to open and we just weren't knocking on them.
I love it. All right, guys, that's going to close out our car chat series. We will resume to like normal normal episodes next week where we are recording them in a sound controlled environment with a nice podcast mic. I hope you guys have enjoyed the journey with us. It's been so much fun. Again, like we said this on the first episode of this little series, but this is the first time Kelly and I have ever recorded a podcast in person together. And the point was for it to feel like you were sitting in on like a phone conversation with us. We chat on the phone for like an hour a day. And I can't tell you how many times we have said to each other after we like are about to hang up and we're like, I wish we would have been recording this. This would have made for an amazing podcast episode. So hopefully you guys enjoyed.
Yeah. We loved this. It was such a fun journey. I'm glad that we did this. We kind of just decided like the day before we started on this little road trip that we should make it into a series. It started off being like we should just record one podcast on the way up and it now has turned into like a whole series.
It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll see you next week.
Thank you for joining us in today's conversation. Please help us reach more filmmakers and photographers like you by taking a screenshot and sharing it to social media. And don't forget to tag us at The Level Up Co.
And join us again next week, same time, same place, as we continue to level up the industry together.